Check. 1, 2.
It's
Hello,
working.
hello.
Check. It is working. Let me go level control.
Woo!
Well, it's the big show.
It's the big woo.
I know we were just talking about that before we hit record. Real quick, we'll do a little AEW. Apparently, last week Jericho's like, Hobbs, I know you're big, but I know people who are bigger. And I made a joke on the text thread, like, who's he gonna get? Big Show and Mark Henry? Sure as shit, they trample out Big Show this week on Dynamite, who can't walk down the ramp because his hips and his knees are so fucking bad. He looks awful. I just showed you guys the video before we hit record, and he looks terrible. And why, God, why? So we've trounced out Ric Flair in the last week. We've trounced out the Big Show. Apparently, Tony Khan thinks the answer to my woes is going to be bringing these people out. And then Cuz on the thread posted that Hulk Hogan and AEW are in talks. And it's like, listen, I'm trying really hard to support Tony Khan and AEW. Really hard. I know we all are, but it gets hard sometimes. Like when he does dumb shit like this. I don't know like what he's thinking. You don't bring those guys out there because all of their lineage is with WWE. So all we're going to do is think about WWE. I mean, we do with Daniel Bryan anyway, but at least Daniel Bryan and them are having killer matches and Claudio and all that stuff. But why? Why are you walking out Flair and Hogan and Big Show? It doesn't make any sense. What you're going to say, Craig?
Yeah, if there was value to them, they would have already been in WWE, and they've squeezed the last bit of juice out of all these guys.
Yeah, because that's right, Craig. Because they would have, with their fame and acclaim, Triple H would have said, "Come on back." But it's just like Edge. They like, well, we got nothing for you. So what do? You go to AEW, try to do something over there. Like they're done with those guys. And
at least Edge is the legend that I feel they can get mileage out of. Okay, like that's fine.
I mean,
CM Punk,
I disagree with you on that.
Like well, how could you? You can't disagree that Edge doesn't attract viewers because he does. But I mean, like you don't think he's like up on the ilk of like the Cena's and all that stuff, which is fair enough.
Christian attracts viewers. I don't think Edge.
Like Christian's great. I think Christian's doing real great, but Edge is absolutely like an attraction. There's really no question.
Like Flair sent out a press release today saying he's cleared by a doctor to take bumps. So
I know
nobody wants to see that.
Too. Oh God, man,
nobody wants to see that.
I'm trying hard.
I wonder how many people are going to die drinking Woo Energy
on this week because I don't want to hear it.
Woo, like, sue AEW.
Wings.
Can't deal with the wings. We were making jokes last week about Flair pushing his stuff and his energy drink, and that's the difference, right? There was a difference like that with WCW at some point where WWF always had the cool people, and WCW always got like the washed up, like, ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Hearns, like 10 years past his prime, just sitting in the front row. It's like, who cares? Like, who cares? And then WWF would have like somebody that was relevant, or whatever. Like
Mike Tyson. Like, what?
Yeah, they would have just people that made sense or whatever, or they would do something great with LT, and then WCW would just get somebody else, and it's like, that's awful.
What was wrong with Kevin Green? Why are you so mad about Kevin Green?
Kevin Green was actually pretty good in there,
boy can work.
Somebody, yeah.
Just didn't have the.
This reminds me so much about like WCW just trying, like they did it a couple months ago. It's when they had Rodman. They marched Rodman out there. I'm like, why? Like. Stop it.
The only thing I could say that might make sense to it, let's look at Big Show. Rodman's seriously a grab, like a click grab, as Craig would probably say, something for clicks, to have something, nostalgia. Oh my God, Rodman came out, and it's a quick, 5-second insta just grab. But Big Show, I hope, because he's been around the industry for so long, understands it. He came out for one big thing, another click, like we talked about a second ago, but then hopefully he's just he won't ever be out there, and he'll be helping them in the back. He'll be, it'd be nice to have someone like that enforcer that tells people, hey man, knock it off. Like maybe he can get some control.
He's been with AEW for 3 years or 3 or 4 years. He came over in the beginning.
But he's done nothing.
He even said, like, Mark Henry and him both said the same thing. I told Vince I have an opportunity. Vince said, bye. Like, because they weren't worth anything, WWF. See ya, bye. Like, bye. That should tell you something right there. And then they've been in the back. I know Henry was commentating for a while, and Big Show was commentating for a bit in the beginning, and I truly don't know what they're doing now. Like,
I don't understand why at this point. I think we've talked about it too. We talked about how to fix AEW, and Jess, you said that they need the gate to pay their wrestlers. I'm like, then start cutting some wrestlers, get some of these people that they don't need out of there. And I think Show, Henry, there's so many. I
mean,
three of the
if
guys.
he's
that
got
were-
the money,
there's
that's
three of the guys I
great
saw
to
there. I didn't
pay
even know
them.
who they were. Like, who were those people? I didn't know.
Yeah,
who they were.
obviously he's got more money. You know, he's fine with taking losses, right? Like, and if this is
But
his
how long
pet
can
project,
you do that?
like, I guess until your dad says no more, like, or his money runs out. I don't know when that threshold is. You know, Dixie Carter got away with a lot of that because her parents own Panda Energy, and they're worth billions. And they humored her for a long time until finally her dad stepped in and said, "Okay, like, you're losing a lot of money with TNA, like a lot of money with TNA. Nothing you do
maybe
works."
it helps with write-offs. I don't know. Maybe it kind of helps with
Yeah.
the overall income of the
I don't.
cons. I don't
It
know.
must look good on their portfolio, and like, you know, for I guess for today's streaming rate, you know, how much streaming takes away from actual ratings on TV. You know, Dynamite still ranks up in the top 5 every single week in cable, and you know,
Sure.
it's not. You know, I know people are alarmed when Collision only gets like 500,000 or 400,000 views.
I just don't understand the unnecessary fat, for lack of a better term, because we're talking about some two big guys, but there are some unnecessary people that are getting paid over there. They just if you're not part of the booking, if you're not part of the keeping people in line, if you're not part of the story build, if you're not part of any of that, and if you're not at least helping Tony Khan enforce in the back, because they desperately need that apparently. If you're not doing any of that, what are you doing there? Why are you there?
The hope would be that they're doing some PR things in radio stations in local markets and selling, and they're staying busy that way. But I haven't seen any of them at all.
You
So,
haven't seen them
I
for
don't know.
one, and even if they did, Craig, I don't want to see a PR radio stuff on the Big Show. I'm not gonna go looking for that. If MJF had said something on a Shock Jock radio show, I would probably go look for that and listen to it. But those guys, and we all know this, need to work harder. We talked about,
and I hate to
the
say it,
grassroots
you just recognize Henry and Big Show from WWE. Like, I mean, I know they're big men, like size wise, but like, were
That's
they ever
exactly
top
why they do
draws?
it. Just their name.
Yeah, they were
they're bigger
never top
names
draws
than-
anywhere. So it's like you bring them over, and they're both way past their prime. They could barely move, like especially Big Show. And it's like, what are you even doing? Like, what are we doing? Here?
Well, to your point, if I saw a Big Show and Mark Henry and a crowd somewhere, yeah, I'm going to know exactly who they are immediately. But I'm not going to go ask for their autograph.
Right.
I don't. So what are we doing?
Or
What
or
are we
yeah,
doing?
if they're down at your local, you know, whatever to do free autographs, I don't think I'm going to go.
And look,
I
I love what they did for the sport, man. I'm not trying to. I'm sounding
Sure,
like a
sure.
total dick right now. I'm not trying to be that way, and I know they worked really hard for what they did, but I'm also come from a line of things. Like, I'm coming from a line of work right now. When my job is done, there's nothing for me until I create something else. So
Yeah.
if you can't create something else in this business, that's how it's always been. Then it's time for you to go. So why are they getting the favor, and why are they contributing to the red in AEW?
Like
I
you
don't-
said,
I don't
if
get
people
it.
were like, man, like, you know, ever since Big Show and Mark Henry got here, the back's been fucking straight and clean and no
Yeah,
fighting
that
and
would
all that stuff.
then that I
Then
would
that's
get.
yeah, they're not even doing that. So their attendance is down, their ratings is down, and there's still unrest in the back. Still, like, and it's just like, what are they doing? Like here at this point, like, there's no point
Yeah.
in having them. Why?
And even on top of that, Sting wasn't doing that either, apparently. But you know what Sting was doing? He was bringing people to putting butts in seats and being out in main events. And
That and
he-
he was, you know, he found
was
Darby Allin
contributing.
and said, "Let's do
Yeah.
stuff." And yeah, he's picking young guys, going, "Oh, I can
he
work with you, I
found a
can work with
way
you."
to be relevant.
Yeah.
He continues to find a way to be relevant. And if you're not doing that, I don't care who you are. I'm asking what is it you say you do here? It's kind of a constant, you know,
What is it
saying that we
you
was
do
talking
here?
Oh, speaking of old, at the Ngannou Fury fight, Vince McMahon and Undertaker, and that's the first time in public I'd seen Vince for a while, and he doesn't look good.
He looked
it's
awful.
strange
Vince looked awful.
with the
Well,
cane too in public.
He just had that spinal surgery, but guys, he's in his 80s, right? I mean, we're right
Yeah.
there. I mean, how would we expect him to look? But here's another thing. When he talked, he was totally there. He was.
Oh, yeah.
He was his mental
Yeah,
state
like
was fine.
I was like, I just remember a couple of promos that he did before he got removed a couple years ago, where I didn't think he sounded good, and I was like, oh man, like he's hitting that wall where his brain might still be there, but he can't, you know, articulate. But he actually sounded fine, like when he was out there with Undertaker, like. He
Yeah.
was keeping up with the reporter. I mean, the reporter's asking stupid questions, like, you know, which annoys me. And you can tell Vince is just he's 80, so he's fucking annoyed. Like, you can tell he's
Yeah.
looking up at the reporter. He's like, shut the fuck up.
Why are you wasting
Like,
my
God.
time?
yeah.
Like, well, he's talking about like, would you ever, you know, you're technically above Dana White. Would you ever get rid of Dana White? That kind of. He's like, Why would I do that? He's a fantastic businessman,
Fantastic
and
business.
I'm not even saying that I can do that in the way this is structured. He's like,
Yeah.
he said it without saying
Some
it's a
fucking
ridiculous.
he-
schmo asking
he
Vince
question-
McMahon. Vince McMahon is seen. He has more power than any of us know. And like some fucking reporters like, dude, did you fire him? It's like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, I wouldn't mind if Vince just beat him with his cane, like right
What
there.
did he say?
I
Why did you give Dana White bad WrestleMania tickets or bad seats or something? Like he asked
What was
him.
the
He's
joke?
Like, what?
I think Dana.
He asked if that,
the
he
joke
asked if that was
was
true. He's like,
yeah.
I didn't do that. That's not true. He's like,
Yeah, he did have bad seats or whatever, but it wasn't Vince. Like, everyone's like, oh, Dana asked to go to WrestleMania one year and Vince purposely gave him shit seats. I'm like, I just don't think Vince is.
I think Dana popped in at the last minute, and I think if Dana would have called Vince would have hooked him up in a suite somewhere.
I think Vince is petty about naming Virgil. And I think Vince is petty, and he puts people in polka dots. I believe all that, but that's on screen stuff. Like that's in the industry. Like I'm gonna fuck with you because I'm in the industry. Or
And
whatever.
Jess, that's
don't
40
think,
year-
yeah.
that's 40 years ago. Like him trying to one up Dana White is not on his agenda at all.
But even but their audiences aren't even the same. Like Dana White even said at the press conference when they're like, we're gonna make, we want all the
He's like,
audience will have,
that was the stupidest thing ever.
that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, and I think Vince probably agrees with that. We're two different products, so
But that's
he
why you
doesn't
want
need
them.
to
That's
get
why
back
you
at
want
Dana
both
White.
of them,
Yeah,
because it brings in two different audiences. I'm not saying they're going to meld,
right.
but you want all of that. This is grabbing a lot of different people from a lot of
Look
different
at
places.
Shamrock in the beginning before UFC even got big. Like, look at Shamrock coming from there. Dan Severn. Look at Lesnar. Look at how Lesnar used both promotions.
Mhm.
Like, look at every time Undertaker and Vince were in the crowd for one of Lesnar's fights, they showed them. So it's like there's no
I would
bad
say
blood
the
between
only
Dana
time
White
you got true crossover was with Lesnar. That was the only time you got true crossover.
Right, yeah.
I don't think Punk did it. I don't think
I know she never returned back
I
to
know
the octagon, but damn it, Ronda was another one.
Yeah, she brought crossover the other way. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
I thought she
Lesnar-
retired. She's been wrestling
She's
in
doing
different
indie shit.
indies.
Yeah.
What?
Good for her. Like, I know
Yeah.
she gets bad press a lot, but she's always been a wrestling fan. She's always been a wrestling fan at heart.
She should have done that from the get. But so we talk about it forever. She should have done NXT. They thought she was
I
too big of a
I
name.
said from the beginning too. I was like, dude, she needs to go to NXT, and I'm like, I get that she's too big of a star as far as the
But that's
definition
why
of star.
Shayna is so much better than she is, because she did all that work down there.
Yeah.
quite frankly.
I
Shayna's
think that
better on the mic,
I
she's
think that if
better in the
Ronda went
ring.
down to NXT for like 6 months to a year, it would have easily spiked NXT's ratings. Or that back then they were on the network.
But going back to that, I don't understand that. If you had such a hard release date that I am going to be gone. I don't know if her contract was actually up at that time, but why would you go wrestle indies? Why wouldn't you just continue? They must have had a
But she
disagreement
likes
that
it.
no one's brought up yet.
But possibly there could definitely be like you can't go work for a major promotion like AEW, New Japan, or something like that. But she could do indies, I'm sure, all day long.
I'm thinking like they told her she was going to go down, and she was like, "Well, fuck you, I'm out of here." I think there was
I don't
something.
think
There
so.
has to be. Well,
I think
why are
she
you
only
wrestling
signed
indies then? Right? Why?
because she likes it. She doesn't need the money. She likes wrestling. She's a
So
wrestling
why
fan.
not?
She
Why
likes
not
it.
stay in WWE? That's what I'm
'Cause
saying.
she didn't like it there. Like she just didn't like
That's
it.
what
there.
I'm saying.
So when
There
her
had to
contract-
be a disagreement or something.
I think she
When-
hated
when-
she hated the fans too. She hated the WWE universe.
I think she likes being a fan that kind of mingles with other fans, and if she can get in the ring, yay, on an indie show. But I think being that celebrity, I think it's hard. I think like we've all talked about how we respect it, but it's way like tougher than we think.
Yeah.
Like the
You got to eat a
publicity.
lot of shit and be very quiet
Yeah.
when everyone's just coming at
Lesnar's
you from
just
all
lucky
angles.
that he's such a big star that he can evoke emotion. Because Lesnar says it all the time. I mean, the few times he was like on a Pat McAfee show, he's like, I hate it. When he was on Steve Austin's
I
show,
hate
he's like,
people.
I hate people. Yeah, I hate people. Like, but he can get away with it because he's a big fucking star. And Paul Heyman does wonders for people like Lesnar. But yeah, Lesnar's like the anomaly that can get away with that shit. But nobody else can.
You just
like-
made me think of something. God, what if Heyman and part of his stable, Ronda, was in that stable? That would have been.
a lot of people said that, like
That's off the
during
chain. I'm sure they did. I never thought about it until you just said it. But
because he liked her. What I think more about is if a promotion like ECW, which was ran by Heyman, was around now, she would instantly be there. Like I don't think there would be because Paul would be like, you could do whatever you want, you could say whatever you want, like fuck it, who cares? Like
yeah, and if
I
you fuck
think-
up, we got tomorrow, and we
Yeah.
just won't air that. We just because
Maybe there's 70 more days until AEW.
Yeah, she might be running out the
Uh,
contract. Shit, hasn't
so
been that
fucking
long
bad.
since she left. Yeah, what is her 90 days or 6 months?
Can you
whatever it might
can
be.
you imagine a Ronda versus Paige match? Come on,
Oh, it'd be awesome.
disgusting. Now Tony Storm's character is so funny. Did she pull a peach out of her pants. Like fucking
She-
hilarious.
I think it was an
thought it was a
orange, but yeah.
Was it orange? I thought it was
She's
a
fucking
cookie. I
laying on the
couldn't tell.
desk and she's all out like out of her. It's so fucking great. She's so funny. Like her little
Yeah.
vignettes, all the
I have
silent
no
movies.
idea where she found this, but I'm so glad that she did. It is the best version of Tony.
People are struggling because they're like, how can AEW's women division catch up with WWE? I was like, characters, marketing. That's the
Right.
way. Tony Khan's just weak at that. And then when you see someone like Storm get out of her comfort zone and start doing good shit, then you're like,
Mhm.
everyone needs
Yeah.
to do that. That's why the dentist got over Britt Baker, because she was the first one to have the gimmick, the glove, and then make everyone chant D, all that stuff. Like she was the first one just to kind of have a character, and people were like, yeah, I can gravitate to that. Now Tony Storm, like, he does ridiculous stuff. Like she'll show up with her fucking makeup all over the place, and she's like crazy, and then she's like obsessed, and she fucking like, give me your titties, like, so fucking great. And I'm like, this is just, she's just trying stuff. The shoe, like, it's
Yeah.
just,
Mhm.
it
watch
should,
out for the shoe.
everybody in
Good.
the back there that's struggling should be like, this is what we need to do. Like, it doesn't have to be corny. It's just, it's people get attracted to it. And now every week she's getting bigger pops and bigger reactions. And like, it's going to keep rolling. Like, it's going to be great. I think she's going to take on someone at Full Gear for the title.
God, that's coming up real quick, huh? Gotta get out there.
Yeah. But also, Crown Jewel is tomorrow, like we said too, and I have the updated card here on the preview or the free show or whatever. It's
10:30 a.m. It's early for you guys.
Fucking love it. I love it.
7:30 over here. Yeah.
When they talk about like a WrestleMania in England, I'm like, yes. Like starting my shit at noon or whatever time it is, like
Mhm.
whatever. Like, please do, please. Like that would be great. Then you could go as long as you want, and it get done at 4 p.m. What are we doing here? Like, that's amazing. But
Yep.
Sami Zayn is going to take on JD in the free for all match or the match on the network or whatever you want to call. Man, listen, I know we can talk about it all we want to. They blew Sammy. I'm just saying. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
they did.
Like, now I know that like he could easily be headlining a pay per view next month, but like, what are we doing here? Like, why is he not on the main part?
Well,
But again, he might have issues, right? He doesn't want to be the main broadcast or something like that. Maybe contractually, I know that he's very tied into a lot of stuff that goes on over there. So Sammy's
I think that's ended because he was on the show last time. So I think that's
right. Yeah.
But he had someone on X or Twitter was saying he had the distinction of having the lowest rated main event in Raw history last week. Who did he? I don't forget who he wrestled on Raw.
He hasn't been on for a while as well.
No, I know.
Like, I don't
But,
think
like,
this is why.
It's
but,
not. No, it's
like,
not because of Sammy. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. But it just goes to like they kind of blew it, and he's hitched his horse to KO, and he's got to kind of start over now and find that lightning
man,
again.
Because
But
now you put them together,
don't
then
know.
you separate them. It's a lot.
We can talk
It's a
about
lot.
it if you guys want to, but I know it offends WWE cultists out there who say that the Bloodline storyline's gone on too long, and I think it has. And I think that yes, it's made more stars, which I've said in the past, but at the same time, when you start to see stars fade, then you're like, I'm not saying that Sammy should have beat Roman. I just think in their minds they're like, well, we'll convert them. They'll beat the Usos and they'll be a tag team. And then they got injured, and I understand that. But now they're separating them, which I feel like is something that should have been done anyway. And like now they're like Craig said, they're starting over with him. Like they're just trying.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird to know at the beginning of the year he got one of the biggest pops we've probably ever seen as wrestling fans, and then now it's like he's on the pre-show, and it's weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm complaining about nothing. Like the product.
he'll be fine. Everything he does, and he dives into it 100%, and he comes out the other side. So he's got to find something. He'll be fine.
Yeah. And so the women's match is a women's title match, a 4-way. Io Sky is taking on. No, actually, it's just a regular match. I forgot they added this. It's Io Sky defending her title against Bianca. That's going to happen for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
That's so weird with like
that should
no
be good.
build, no
I hope
build
it's
at
good.
all because Bianca's been gone.
Bianca needs a banger.
Yeah.
She needs a good match.
She does, and she's good. She's good for it. And then we have John.
When has she not had one? I mean, she's just been gone, right?
Yeah.
She hasn't.
Yeah, she just took some
Yeah.
time off, I think.
Yeah, but she's
then we
lost a
have,
little bit of luster to me. Like she was the face of it, and she just took a step back a little bit. And now she's been gone for a bit. She'll be fine.
Don't be surprised if she takes that title over there. That's not a bad title change, even for
Right. If you want to do a title change to say you did one, that's probably the match you do it in.
Mhm.
Jonathan Cena takes on Solo in a singles match.
Ooh,
I'm
kinda
interested.
excited about that one. Yeah, I'm interested in that.
I think it's a big step up for Solo. I really enjoy the fact that like they're giving Solo a big main event star. I think it's really cool. I've been enjoying Cena's run.
And it's pretty easy to watch Solo go over. That's going to happen. I mean, Cena's going to put
Odin
everybody over
Rhodes,
for as long as he can.
Cody Rhodes will take on Damian Priest in a singles match, which should be good. You know, again, you know, they've done a really good job keeping Cody like the top babyface, and people are still buying into it, and I love it. And Cody's great, and I like Damian's stock; it's going up, but he always has that briefcase, so this match really doesn't mean shit. So it's like Cody should just go over, and then if he's gonna tease later, he'll probably tease in both world title matches. Since the next match is he won't do it in this match because nobody cares about the U.S. title. But Rey Mysterio taking on Logan Paul for the U.S. Championship. I truly believe that Logan's going to
win that thing. Yeah.
And I mean, how many social media clicks is he going to get? He's going to do all these videos with it. When he does his podcast, he's going to have it. I think that's amazing. Listen, I've never really cared for the U.S. Championship since the WWE bought WCW anyway, because the lineage to me was NWA/WCW. So it really doesn't matter. If they want to do that, okay, I think it's fine. I know wrestling purists are going to be like, what? But I'm like, how valuable is the U.S. title? Let's be honest.
I hope he carries it to the ring when he boxes.
That'd be fucking great too. That'd be really funny too. So there's a lot of publicity that they can get for that. So I think that's going to be like, I think it'll be a good match for sure. And then I think that he'll win the title. Roman Reigns is going to defend his Universal something about undisputed. I don't know what he's doing over there. He's held it for 25,000 days, and he's going to take on LA Knight for the title. Listen, I don't expect the title change. I don't think anybody here does. But, you know, maybe LA Knight wins by count out, DQ, or the draw. I don't know.
Like, I hope he's protected.
I just hope Roman doesn't beat him. I just hope Roman doesn't beat him.
Well, even if it's I'm actually kind of okay if it's a major schmaz like heel finish. I think I would be okay with that. I hope, to your point, that he wins by DQ or something. That would be, if that happens, the crowd will blow its top.
What do you think? I think that I think this match, if it ends, if it's in the middle of the card, I think we're going to know that LA Knight will win by count out or DQ. I think that's because if it closes the show, I don't see them ending the show in a count out or DQ. I don't, but maybe I'm wrong. Like on that, maybe it doesn't matter. But I think that maybe this match will be middle of the card, and the TV title match with Drew will be the main event. Because that will be the substance match. Like Seth and Drew, I'll just say it, they're going to take each other on for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think that's going to be the World Heavyweight wrestling match. Like, I'm not saying Drew or Roman and LA Knight's going to be bad, but that's going to be storyline driven. It's going to be entertainment. It's going to be all that stuff where I think that Seth and Drew are going to wrestle like really hard, and I think that's going to be a great match.
I just wonder why they had Roman and LA Knight touch so soon. Again, I think it's that whatever happens in Saudi stays in Saudi. It's like the Vegas kind of nothing ever. Really
I think if maybe he wins by a DQ or count out, they can save him, and then later on at any point, LA Knight could be like, "I beat you."
And Roman's not scheduled for Survivor Series either, and then he's going to be back at the Rumble. So it's like this is kind of it.
Maybe that's a rematch. Maybe they'll do this and then they'll rematch at the Royal Rumble, and they'll keep LA Knight. I don't know. I'm not saying LA Knight will win ever. I'm just saying.
Can you imagine if LA Knight does win, like fair, and breaks the streak?
Just ends it, and that's
I don't see a way that they can do that, but
Paul Heyman at the press conference,
that would be interesting.
Is now over. It's like you said you were in the third inning like 2 months ago. He's like,
Like
I
Heyman,
don't know sports.
Heyman turns on Reigns and helps LA Knight, like he's LA Knight. Yeah, I just don't. I don't know.
Never happened. Never happened.
And then the women's match, the 4-way for the Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley defends her title against Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel, my future wife, Rodriguez.
That could be ugly. That could be very ugly.
I'm worried about that, right? Like, because it's 4, and I don't know if I want that cluster in my life. And
I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. I don't see Rhea getting the title taken off of her either right now. Like
I don't either.
She's way over. But there's gonna be some heavy duty stuff in there. Like there's gonna be some real power moves.
I hope there's some cool spots with Nia, right? You know, she's one of the only ones in there that can match Rhea power for power, which is interesting.
Raquel can too. Raquel's up there.
Raquel is. I mean, we're dating, so everything's gonna be fine.
Whoa. Excuse me.
But yeah, I hope that I hope it's good. But we'll see. I don't think that Rhea is gonna lose, to your point. But that is the Crown Jewel card. That is what we're looking at tomorrow.
So where did they film SmackDown?
That should be the main event. I'm just saying.
I wonder where they filmed it. Like it wasn't.
I started watching that tonight too. LA Knight came out in the beginning and faced off with Roman, and they had like a pull apart. They didn't even fight. They just pushing each other, and then that was
Roman
it.
called him a cosplay of my cousin, which I thought was
Yeah.
my.
a nice shot.
Just uncalled for.
But didn't LA Knight stomp him out like too? Like
That was last week.
oh, that was
He did
last week.
last
Sorry, not today.
And then KO had a pretty good match with Austin Theory this week. So I didn't really watch the rest of it. I can't remember
And them
where I left
clean.
off at.
Yeah.
So that's good. And KO's back on SmackDown. So here we go.
Yeah, that's
Here
one
we
of
go.
the possibilities we talked about. Well, I talked about KO possibly going over there just to be part of the bloodline storyline, not part of, but like be in either in the trajectory of taking it eventually. You gotta be on the same show to wrestle Roman, apparently, right? But maybe not. I feel like he could be a part of that story. That's why they kind of put him over there. You put Kevin in there with Roman, you can have some pretty decent fireworks with that. Kevin's fantastic. I mean, he's
always good. And, I'm just waiting for maybe he'll have a longer feud or something with Austin Theory, or maybe they're going to retool Austin Theory. I don't know. I wish that they would just do something with him because he's way too talented.
He's feuding with both of them. He did a thing last week when he punched both of them in the face with one punch. So it's a bit gimmicky.
That was funny. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty funny.
He's feuding with who? KO and who else?
KO's feuding with Grayson and Austin Theory.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
because Waller was at ringside. That's right.
you
Yeah.
both out with one punch, I bet.
Yeah. I told you.
I told you.
It was like a really fake Hollywood punch, but he punched both of them.
Yeah, and it went smack.
And they both like fell. It was very funny.
That's funny.
But
By the way, what was the point of Miz getting his ass handed to him by Gunther and his goons? Is that going anywhere, or was it just?
They'll probably set up a match because obviously Gunther's not on this card, neither is the Miz. So they're probably setting up for Survivor Series. They'll probably have a match and Miz will lose.
I feel like Miz has to get some face back in the next couple of weeks on Gunther. Like he's going to do something really shady and shitty, and the crowd will love it because they really kind of. I mean, it was like Miz got he got a little bit of beef in, and then eventually they just took him out, and then like, oh, by the way, here's a tag match, and Miz just got overlooked.
I love the Miz. We all do, but it's funny. I've been watching a lot of memes going like stuff like the Miz cuts the same promo like once every year, and then everybody acts like he's never cut it before. I'm like, that's true. He does cut the same fucking promo.
It is true, but
about how I worked hard and I got kicked out of the locker room. It's every fucking promo that he gets.
That's hilarious.
But
he's great on the mic. He's great, and he's a great character, and he's. If you're looking to,
he's been there for 20
what am I
years.
missing or what do I need? Look at someone like The Miz who figured out the rhythm. I'm not saying you have to be the worker that he is, and I'm not saying he's a bad worker because when he wants to work, he's great.
He's a smart worker.
But yeah, he's just a different worker. He's like a honky tonk man. They hit light. He's a light worker, as Brett used to say. And to me, I'm like, just if you're not getting your character over, you want to see what kind of charisma you should have. Miz is a great example as someone to watch and just watch him embrace everything. And it doesn't matter, like he still walks around like going, my balls, and all that stuff. Like it's just, he doesn't forget anything and he always uses anything that gets him heat as a tool. And I think that that's what Vince loved like back in the day. And Triple H still loves that to a certain extent too, obviously, because he's still featured.
You know what's fantastic about The Miz on top of all that is he just did a promo with LA Knight and lost, and he's in the IC title talk with Gunther, even though it's not really talk yet, but he can just recover it. It's fine. And that's just The Miz. And he's been doing that for 2 decades. I
don't know how you can say whatever you want about him, but like he might have one of the most successful careers. Like everybody talks about The Undertaker because of the longevity and his main event matches. And I'm not suggesting that they're on the same level, but if you talk about wrestling careers, like the career of being a pro wrestler, how is Miz not one of the greatest careers that you've ever seen? Like, honestly, I mean,
and
there's no better.
And to this moment, he hasn't crippled himself either.
No, like he's still, I'm sure he's had injuries like everybody else, but he's healthy. I don't ever remember him going off for a long period of time. He would go off to film the Marine 17, but he would never go off because he blew something out or whatever. And I get there is that style of wrestling that people like, and honestly, I like watching the Honky Tonk Man because I like heat. I love heat.
I like heat, and I like characters, and he has both.
I love characters. I love heat. Look at Dom. Even though Dom his wrestling has improved so much this past year, Dom's has.
He can work.
But I mean, it's a character. It's just I want to see that heat. It's fun as shit. And watching Miz get booed and tell everyone to shut up, and when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut, and I love the interaction with crowds, because especially since I had kids, my kids respond to that. And so I love watching that going, that's why they do that. That's why they lead off with Miz or somebody like that, because he is going to do something to get you either pissed at him or you're going to be like, that's kind of funny. Like, and that's what a successful career. Like, and again, everyone wants to focus on the big careers like Taker and all that stuff, and he should be celebrated. But like, look at how fucking he's been world champion. The Miz has. He's been U.S. champion, Intercontinental champion. Maybe he hasn't won the U.S. title. I thought he did for some reason, but he's been Intercontinental champion.
He's a Grand Slam champion. Yeah,
he's been tag team champion. He's been Miz and Morrison was funny. It's actually what got them over originally because nobody cared. So they made it for themselves. Like it's just he has been amazing. Like the Mizdow and Miz, like just all these great Alex Riley and the Miz were really funny together. Like he's been a part of some really fun stuff. Like Miz is just I don't even know how we got on the subject of Miz, but just if you want to look at success,
I was asking about Gunther and that whole thing.
Yeah.
What? How'd that happen?
Gunther is a failure. No, he's not. He's great.
He's fantastic. Even his mic work has grown so much in the past year for Gunther, and they don't have him overdo it. They keep him kind of on the straight and narrow with it, but it's good stuff. And I believe in the Gunther project. He's the longest reigning IC champion ever, and it's
personally,
great.
Unless they do a cash in at Crown Jewel with Damian Priest, I personally feel that they should have Gunther finally beat Seth and hold both titles, because I think if you really want to supercharge him up and make him like this crown heel, like that's what you do. And then
imagine if he held those titles and the tag titles, and Rhea has the women's championship. That's a lot of drip.
That's what I think. If you want to supercharge Gunther, it looks like Triple H, because Triple H has a real soft spot for heels like that.
Yeah,
and he loves it. I mean, because Gunther's a good worker. He's got his own charisma. It's not the Miz type of charisma or any other charisma we've seen. And with the Emporium with him, they are such a big. Like I love it. I love the threesome, and I love the package. Like when they come out, because he should be the silent guy. He's like the silent killer.
Ring general.
Yep. And you make that guy in Philly. With that Philly crowd of 80,000 people, like that'll be his moment.
Like he beats fucking like Seth or whatever, and he's just like this unbeatable machine.
Title for title.
I love that character too. You know, it's like the opposite of what Miz is. You know, like he's an underplayed character. Like he's just an unbeatable guy. Like Lesnar's the same way. It's like he's unbeatable. Like even though he gets beaten, it doesn't matter. You still think every time his music pops, you're like, he's gonna fucking kill somebody. Like, you know, and it's like I love that, like that feeling. That's the opposite of kind of what Miz does. Like it's charisma in a different way.
Well,
like
and the interest is uncanny. Like my
even
wife's
though
like, that's
the good guy
entrance.
Lesnar, the cowboy hat Lesnar, was fucking hilarious. Like he is so comfortable with his character right now. He's the greatest. But just that Paul Heyman representation, or the way Gunther is accented by the other two, like that speaks volumes to me. Like I love things like that because he's just like this killer, and his chops, you know, it's just like an extra thing. Like
best chop in the business, man. Best chop
like
in the
just
business.
where he murders you, like, you know, and then he can stand in there with people like Sheamus and Drew and all that, and really he's just as good as them, and he could go tit for tat.
Those were epic matches, man. They destroyed each other. Yeah, a title for title at WrestleMania would.
Ooh. And before I read it today, we knew this was happening, right? Because I think we know that SmackDown's going to USA, but Fox's CEO made the official announcement today on their quarter 1 2024 call. That you know, we did separate with WWE. We felt that basically said like it's not their fault, it's more our fault. Like their number one goal is ROI, return on investment, and they gave WWE $1 billion, and WWE just could not recoup that money for them. Even though it's a popular product, even though it just didn't do what they thought it was going to do, so that's why they decided to go a separate way. So we knew it was happening, but it wasn't WWE. It was Fox probably telling them a couple months ago, like, you're just not.
Do you remember, Jess, when they made that deal, you thought they were in so much trouble? Like, you're right, they didn't recoup it, like you said they wouldn't, but you thought they were going to go down the chain. It didn't happen. I was
majorly wrong. Well, you know what? The odd thing is, though, is I think what saved them was the pandemic.
True. Yeah.
Because like they weren't like we were talking you talk about all the pictures of AEW's empty side of the hard cam or whatever. They were not selling out venues before the pandemic. It was getting bad.
They were struggling on the gate.
Yeah, they were struggling, and like ratings sucked and everything sucked. And when Fox gave them that money, I was like, are they watching the same product I'm watching? Because why the fuck would you give WWE $1 billion like at all for one show? Why? Like, I mean, and obviously it did well in the ratings and all that stuff. It just didn't recoup their investment. When they went in the pandemic and they started reporting that, well, we're not losing our ass going out on house shows anymore. It reminded me of WCW, when they stopped touring and they were like, well, we're not losing a shitload of money
They kind of
touring.
fell into it, yeah.
Yeah, so they fell into it, and then after they came back, then Vince got taken out, and then Triple H took over, and the booking got 1,000,000% better, and then now look at where we are, So, hey, I was wrong, but like, I really am interested to see if the pandemic never happened. I wanted to see what happened with them because they were only going to get worse.
I'm saying you weren't wrong. It's just that the outcome was wrong. What you thought was going to happen because we had an unknown element come into it, which was you weren't allowed to put butts in seats. But if they had, I think it would have gone the route that you're talking about. But I forgot.
Because before the pandemic hit, they had a SmackDown where they had they had the stage set. That arena held like 18,000. They had it set up for 12, and they only put like 4 or 5 in it. And the execs were like, "What?" Like they were looking around. There's many reports. I remember that. And I was like, "This is not going to be good." Like, how are they going to get ratings up? And then Vince started hot-shotting and pulling people back and bringing Lesnar back and all that stuff. And but then like the pandemic, I hate to say it, was a negative thing in this country, but for WWE, it saved them. They were just like, oh, we're not losing money, on 20,000 seat venues anymore. We're only putting 6,000 people in them or whatever. We're saving money, which shows you that wrestling is a live sport. You need the crowd, but it shows you when you're down, you got to cut house shows back. Bischoff told us that a long time ago. He's like, I had to stop touring.
I still kind of I can't remember the term they used for all the monitors, what they called it.
The Thunderdome or the
Thunder was it Thunderdome?
Yeah.
It was.
I think it was Thunderdome.
It was really smart, man. I was like, that's and then you got to see yourself on TV.
It just really shows. Craig said it when on our legacy events, he might have lost touch when it came to creative, but he did not lose touch when it came to innovation and technology and the direction that he's always seen that company to go in. So yeah.
It's that whole thing's quite fascinating. I was on the Thunderdome a few times, and I wanted to be on it, and I wanted to see myself, and it was cool. And I had friends later that I didn't know I met through work or something. I was on the Thunderdome. I'm like, yeah, I was too. I was on it also. It's pretty.
He's always been good. Vince has always been great at that and making people engaged with his product.
Yeah.
Even during the downtimes, he tried something. He gave a house away. Remember that?
In your house. I forget.
Yeah, he gave a pallet full of money away one time too. He's always tried.
Where was that house in Detroit? It was like $10,000.
Yeah, it was fucking
modern day PT Barnum. He's just they're all just carnies.
A shill.
Yeah, big time, man. Yeah, it's a circus.
I don't know. I know we knew that it was coming and that Fox, SmackDown was moving, but you have to say something negative about WWE right now, right? Their business is amazing and they're doing awesome and the ratings are up and all that stuff. But
it's just incredible that they, to your point, they made that $1 billion deal and
they were just paid too much money. Yeah,
they were. But how do you say no? You
don't. You do exactly what Vince did. There's do exactly what he did, and then he got another $1 billion from Peacock for the entire library usage. So it's you don't say no is the answer to that. You say yes. 1,000 times. And they had a 4-year contract or a 5-year contract with Fox. I don't remember how long it was, but Vince is like, there's a lot can happen in 5 years, and it did, by the way. Maybe something he didn't like.
Has it been on for 5, or has it only been on for a couple? They didn't do the end of the contract.
Since before the pandemic, right? So that was 3 years ago, or almost 3 years ago at this point. 2020. 2020, March of 2020 is when we locked down, and they signed before that. So I think they signed at the end of 19. So it's been 3-4 years, for sure. Maybe it was a 4-year deal.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, because Bischoff got hired over, when Bischoff got hired for 5 minutes and then got fired, that was when they first signed with Fox and went live again with SmackDown every week.
Oh,
so
that's right.
What year that was.
That's right.
Maybe it was 2018 that they signed it.
All right.
But there we go. 38 minutes. I like it. Slim and trim.
We'll see what the match is.
I
don't know what that means.
Like Gordon Solie. We'll see you at the matches.
Well, see
Southern Championship Wrestling.
Woo!
This week, Moondog Spot attacks Jerry Lawler.
Oh my God!
We'll see you at the matches.
Lawler. Yeah.
And Stoppy Poo.